Hello everyone, this is Bentley. It's time for episode 18 of Tank of the Week. And today's kind of a special day. So I wanted to give you one, I guess, revisit, so to speak, before we go back to the rainbow raising tanks in the grow room. And that's, well, it's December 4th of 2019. If you're watching this the day this video releases, my birthday. Or as I much prefer calling it, Womb Liberation Day. Which is some joke that a friend of mine had said back when I was a teenager. I think I was like 13 or 14. I've always thought it was funny, and I have always used it ever since because it was a little more original and fun. So, a little insight into the crazy person that I am and the way that my brain works. But for today, there's kind of another special occasion, and today is the last day to enter the giveaway I started in the last video. So the week before the live stream, that's came out on the 23rd? I think it's the 23rd. So that video is going to be up in the corner right now. Hit the eye, go to that video, watch it, figure out how to enter. You're going to leave a comment. It'll tell you exactly what to comment. Put that comment down there. Make sure you get entered. Win some free stuff. I'm actually giving away quite a few smaller prizes instead of just one. So you have an opportunity to win all sorts of cool stuff. Make sure you get into that. If you're watching this after December 4th, it's past midnight Pacific time. I am sorry the contest is over, but thank you for the belated birthday present of paying attention to me this far. So let's get into the Tank of the Week and why I'm sitting in front of the 75 long. Other than I get decent light for filming for all the magical YouTube stuff. This tank's had a lot of changes since we first looked at it. It seems like, I mean, we're at episode 18, and I swear it seems like it's only been a couple of weeks since I did the first episode looking at this tank with just plants in it. And, you know, we had that gentleman's tank who cracked, and I had to go pick up his fish in the middle of the night, and they ended up in here, so it wasn't the rainbows. But if you look, like I'm sure you can see in the fuzzy background, there's some fish swimming around that weren't there before. Well, some rainbows have ended up in this tank, but not the rubrostriata yet. So let's cut over to some film and talk about it. Here you can see the party animals, the Chilatharina blaheri, are in this tank. And let me explain why. Animal House is just taking a little too long to get together between like the plumbing that exploded in my shower and all the repair work that had to go there, which like killed my fun budget because I had to spend thousands of dollars fixing my dumb house, and some other stuff, like just, you know, when the real world likes to kick you in the junk to remind you, like, can't always be easy. So like some of the things I need for that tank, hardscape and stuff like that, have taken a little longer to get. Plus I've been shopping around to try and find something that like just really inspires me, and I figured it out, so that'll be fun soon. But because it's been taking so long, these guys have been growing. They needed more room. So we just got all the fish out of the tank. They were in a little 20 long upstairs, and they were just past the point of where I felt good about it. And I moved them in here, and now they have more room so they can frolic and have fun and do rainbow things while we get Animal House ready for them. And once Animal House is ready, we'll move them out of the 75 long. They'll go into Animal House, and then eventually the rubrostriata will probably move here. Maybe the running rivers. Who knows? Fish will get shuffled. Plans always change when you have a lot of tanks and you're too busy for your own good. Like, something happens and you're like, I need to do this now instead of that. And you just do it, right? That's just life. But part of why I wanted to highlight this is, like, you'll also see on the plants, and I know you've seen it by now, and you're like, look at all that algae. Maybe he's not as good at plants as I thought he was. Well, I want to highlight that because I want people to know that, like, even the people who are really good at plants fight algae. I fight algae. I had a big algae bloom in this tank, and, you know, I just worked on it. I played with it with my roommate. I was kind of like, we kind of had to put our heads together, and I was like, okay, can you try this and this? And it was like, well, we shifted the lighting a little bit. I brought the lighting power intensity down just a touch, and I changed, we changed our regime of how we were doing our fertilizers in this tank a little bit. So instead of kind of 2 bigger doses a week, we do like a small daily dose instead. and just slowly did some things to get that algae growth under control. And we've gotten it under control, so now it's just that thin fuzz, which oddly looks kind of cool. If I could do this without it like making my plants look ugly, like get it on wood and rock maybe like this, I'd probably actually be really into it. But it's covering all my plants, and there's no wood and rock in this tank, so that means it's got to go. And part of moving all the fish brought in some autosinkless to clean the glass up a little bit. Well, acrylic, but to get that dust algae off of there, which is why we've left it. We want them to have lots of stuff to graze on, and also some SAEs. And I think I might move the pair of longfin green dragon plecos I have with the rubostriata into here to get a lot of the algae off the back wall, for example. Just let them, have something to continuously graze on as they're growing up. Lots of good food. Move them out of a tank that they've really, really cleaned, and get them into another tank that they can just like nom on like crazy, right? But I also want to highlight one special fish in this tank, just because it's fun for me. This is a fun one. I kind of like revisiting tanks from time to time because it lets you have a little insight into like how they've changed over time, right? You guys get to very much watch these things with me and see how they evolve and how I screw up and how I fix it and all that kind of stuff, right? It's fun, for at least for me, to go that way. But I want to talk about one of the fish that came over that in that tank cracking story that I didn't think I was gonna like, and I love the dumb thing. So I want to talk about the Dojo Loach that's in here, who we have affectionately named Danger Noodle. And let me tell you that story, because to me it's funny. So that night, I went and picked up all those fish. I came back, and my roommate was helping me get them into the tank after getting them back up to temp a little bit, get them a little acclimated. Tired, went to sleep late at night, come down the next morning and kind of checking stuff out. And my girlfriend comes down, and she's looking at a fish. She's like, "Oh, those corridors, they're cute. There's the emerald brocus, and there's the stirby in there." We had a lot of those tetras that were in there, and frankly, they all kind of crashed. Like, we had a bunch of neons in here, and every single one of them just kind of bit the dust. And at that same time, we had this algae bloom occur. So I'm not sure. It's probably like some kind of spike in the bioload that the filters weren't fully ready for that big a spike right away, and that combo between the stress and all that stuff just made it hard for those poor little neon tetras to make it. So, mistake on my behalf, most certainly, but it gave an opportunity for something else to be appreciated. And so she's looking at the tank, and she's like, "What the heck is that big pink looking thing?" And that's not the words she used. Well, okay, no, that's not true. That's not the word the word that we used to describe. When she saw this thing, she's like, "What the heck is that?" She thought it was like a dead fish or something. It's like, no, that the big male appendage looking thing. Just not appropriate for YouTube. But with all the COPPA guidelines, I guess I'm supposed to not be appropriate anymore to not get fined $40,000 worth of crazy nonsense the FTC is doing. Anyway, this is how you know I'm not a professional. I just sit and laugh at myself because I'm an idiot. But, so we're describing it, and he's got the whiskers coming off the front of his face, right? And it looked kind of like it was like, yeah, it's kind of like a big fleshy noodle thing. She's like, well, this was like, "Oh, what is it?" And I was like, "Oh, it's a Dojo Loach. They're also called weather loaches because they can sense changes in barometric pressure, aka when weather is about to change." I was like, so it kind of has like a danger sense almost. She's like, "So it's a danger noodle," and that's bam. That was Danger Noodle's name right then and there. From there on out, and like, let me explain why I find this stupid fish so funny. Like, so one thing that's cool about the Dojo Loach is they have like two kind of air bladders instead of just one, because they're big long fish, right? Well, they'll often come to the surface of water, and like, we'll have pellets that we put in here every once in a while that'll float like all night. And in the middle of the night, Danger Noodle will come up to those and you hear this like water smacking sound as he's gulping both air and water to get all the pellets. And then later he'll settle down and he'll have air that he pushes to that rear bladder trying to move it through his system, and like the butt will just float up like this. The head will be down, the butt just floats up. It's so funny. Like, we were paranoid at first, and I went and watched some videos online. Like, this is how I do a lot of my research, is Google and like YouTube. I'm not as scientific as you might think. I'm just really good at looking at a lot of stuff and figuring it out. Found out that like a guy online had said how like, oh yeah, if it's really a problem and your Loach can't pass it, you just net them out, and they can be out of water for upwards of 5 minutes. But you do it like 2 minutes at a time. You let them out of water, and they'll fart. They'll fart the extra air out, and then they'll be fine. You put them back in the water. Thankfully, I've never had to do that with Danger Noodle, but it's so funny. It was like, he'll lay there, and this back end just, whoa. It's so dumb. And we'll be sitting here. Like, I don't watch a lot of TV, but every once in a while, like maybe every other week, my girlfriend and I will sit down for dinner, and we'll watch 1 or 2 episodes of a show that we like. And I don't watch a lot of TV, so usually I'm literally watching replays from a season that's already happened because of how slow I watch TV. And Danger, when the lights are out in the tank, because typically, so like we'll do this at like 8 and 9 o'clock at night, and Danger Noodle will come and plop facing the TV, which is that way, and just sit and not move for like 30, 45 minutes at a time, like he or she is watching TV with us. This thing is hysterical, and at some point maybe I need to do like a real profile on this fish, but it's just, you can see why I love, like, I've come to love Danger Noodle. Like, I'm not really big on loaches. Like, I think clown loaches look cool, and coolie loaches are weird spaghetti noodle things, and they can be very cute, but I've just never liked, loaches were never something I wanted to keep as a fish. That as a fish keeper, loaches were not the thing that I looked at and went like, that's really cool, I want that fish. Especially like Dojo loaches and yo-yo loaches and some of the like ones that get really big, right? Or at least like, this, as opposed to like huge. And now that I've had Danger Noodle, I'm like, I see why people love rope fish and all those kind of things. Is just because they're so goofy. They're such goofy things at times, and the way that they do stuff because of how they've evolved over time. Anyway, this has been a long ramble, if you can't tell. So Tank of the Week 18 is literally just me checking in and saying, like, hey, I want to feature a couple dumb things about this tank. I get algae too, don't worry about it. Danger Noodle is freaking weird, and the party animals are in their temporary party enclosure until Animal House is fully ready. This has been a long and weird ramble with a little bit of B-roll that hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure you go and check out the giveaway if it's still December the 4th and get entered. Win some sweet fluval bug bite stuff. It's all, I've given away quite a bit of it. I can't speak English anymore. I'm so lost. I'm not editing any of this out. This is going to be the weirdest episode of Tank of the Week you guys have ever watched. Anyway, I want to thank you guys so much. Just, we're getting really close. If we haven't hit 5,000 yet, like, we're on the cusp as I'm filming this. So we probably have hit it by the time this releases. But I just want to thank you guys. I absolutely love the way that you guys are in the comment section. So down below, let me know. Do you want to see a profile species on Dojo Loaches? Do you think Danger Noodle is just a funny name, or the story behind it, or do you have a Loach that watches TV with you too? Like, whatever, man. Tell me anything about this video in the comments. I really just want to hear from you guys, because I always get a kick out of your stories and your feedback and your questions. Like, it's always a great time for me. I love it. And then, of course, if you enjoyed this nonsensical, crazy ramble from me on my birthday, keep that in mind. A little present, the thumbs up for the magical YouTube algorithms, maybe even a share. Ooh, just because it's my birthday. Otherwise, yeah, don't share this stuff. Come on. don't share this crazy rambling psychopath in front of you. For the rest of you who are like, hey man, I wanted to see something different, you can hit that thumbs down twice. It's cool. I understand. In fact, you might be my biggest fan. You might be. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. When it's your birthday, happy Womb Liberation Day. And stay awesome.